Hello, I'm Chris Goodrow, and I have been with Dent Wizard since 2001. I work in the Ohio, Michigan area, kind of covering in between Detroit and the Toledo markets. For about 17 years, I was a Dent Wizard technician, covering a massive territory, and I have now recently transitioned into the regional sales manager's position. But today, I want to talk about a little bit about the sales and how to maximize your profit while walking your lots and getting the most out of your dealerships. This is something that kind of came to ease to me because I felt I could relate really well with a lot of the dealerships. And it's always nice to cater to their needs, find out what they want, and kind of go off of that. So you basically are every single dealership's going to have a different setup. Some dealerships are going to want you to fix everything. It doesn't matter what year the car is or how big the damage is or how small the damage is. And some dealerships are only going to want you to fix certain models or certain years, certain mileage. So you always have to find a way to cater to that type of dealership. So what I want to talk about today is a little bit about building the relationships. Trust in the dealership is huge. Trust to a manager. If you have integrity out there, you're not going to go behind their back. You're not going to upcharge on things. You're not going to write phantom panels. These are things that once a dealership gets comfortable with you and a manager gets comfortable with you, you're going to be able to get a lot more out of that dealership. So a little bit of a story I could tell you to help relate to that is I was in a dealership I was really trying to get a lot of work from. And the dealership kept calling me, and it kind of was tough to continue to leave my route to go to this dealership. So I figured, let's make the most of it. And I really wanted to get this account and get their work. So I had to figure out a way. I was really good at doing the dents that they wanted me to do, much better than the dent guy that they had. And this is the reason why a lot of the sales staff and the service department would call me. But we never seemed to get through to the used car manager, who was actually the owner of the dealership. So one day, one of the guys asked me to fix a car for them that was sold, and the owner happened to be passing by the service lane because it was kind of a nasty day that day, so I had to work on it indoors. And he asked me what I was doing there. He said he had a guy, and I said, yeah, I just had a phone call come in from one of your sales staff members, and he wanted me to fix this car for him because they were having trouble getting a hold of the other guy. He goes, okay, I want you to make this be your last one, and I don't need you to come back. And I knew this lot had great potential, and I really wanted to get it. So when I was done, I actually walked up into the showroom, and I actually looked around a little bit outside of his office, pictures, anything that I could build a conversation out of. And it just so happened that I actually saw some pictures of him fishing in Alaska. And I wanted to let him know that the repair was done. He didn't think I could actually fix the car because the damage was being, too large to be fixed. And what happened was he came back up to the showroom. I let him know the car was fixed. He said, yeah, it looked great. Again, I'll call you if we need you, but I got my guy. And I just happened to say, hey, I see that picture over there. I see you go fishing up in Alaska for halibut. I'm kind of curious, how many times do you go to Alaska? Is there a certain area you go to Alaska? And he asked me why I would be asking him about Alaska, because I told him I was just recently planning a trip to Alaska on a cruise with my wife. And we got into this big conversation about Alaska. He then brought me into his office. He sat me down. He broke open his book, and he started showing me tons of pictures of Alaska. This guy's been going for year after year after year, like 10 years at least, of fishing in Alaska every single year with the same group of guys. And he told me about certain spots I need to go see, and I was into it. I was into the conversation because I had a big, I was excited for my trip as well. And the next week, he actually called me back, and it's that little conversation I had about Alaska that built great trust with that dealership. It opened up the door, and I always tell my technicians that the things that you're just going to maximize your profit is if you do more than the other guy who might be coming in there does. You definitely don't leave anything else on the table that somebody else could possibly fix that's going to actually share the lot. You want to get the majority of the work. You want to get all of the work. And you want to treat the customers as friends. You want to build a friendship, a partnership. You don't want to just go in there and show them a list of cars and act like you're a transaction, because that is the one thing that will, no matter how good you are, that's the one thing that could potentially get you out the door, because there's always somebody that will come in and do it for a little bit cheaper. And sometimes the dealerships, when they just see it as a transaction, they're just looking to get a better end on the profit. So I suggest a couple of things: building relationships, find some things that they're really into that could really help open the door for conversation and really start that friendship and partnership with the dealership. package some things up every now and then. Say, hey, this is going to cost this much money, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a deal. Thanks for all the work that you've given me. Give them a little bit of a break. That will go a long way for you just going to grab the keys rather than needing permission to actually do the cars. So that's a huge plus. If you have an open checkbook policy with the dealerships, now I'm not saying you can just write whatever bill you want. Be fair, be honest, but to be able to walk the lots, go in, grab keys, not wait for approval, not wait for them to go through the computer to see how much profit's in this or that. And the other thing is if you know that something's borderline, bring that up. Even though you're getting keys 100% of the time that you can fix whatever you want, at least bring up some of the cars that he may not want to do, because this way you're showing that you're looking out for him. And when you're showing that you're looking out for a dealership, that just builds that trust even more. They really want that trust. You build that trust, you're going to maximize your profit. And the other thing I just suggest to you is build relationships with everybody in the dealership. When I walk into a dealership, I know everybody's name. They know my name, because you never know when that person may be let go from their duties as used car manager, and somebody else inside that dealership is going to move up into the ranks. A lot of times they bring somebody else in, and you have to restart the whole process. But if you've already basically built that relationship and trust with everybody in the dealership, it's going to go a long way and make everything a lot easier if one guy gets removed or moves to a different place and somebody inside the dealership takes a spot. They already know you, they already know what you can do, they already know your pricing, and it's going to help you in the long run. So I hope this really helped. You help maximize your profits on your dealerships. This is something that's been really successful for me. And I know I went over the 2-minute mark, but I just felt like I had to tell a little bit about how I've gotten to certain dealers. So again, I hope this helps you, and have a great day.